Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, everybody out there, all teachers who are connected right now via YouTube. It's a pleasure for me to have you here. My name is John Pulido. Uh, I'm the moderator for this master classes. This strategy. We want to welcome you. We're so happy to have you here. This community is growing, and this is the second master class of the year. We started off last week with a topic focused on elementary school. We did that master class in Spanish, but today's master class is in English, and we're focusing on the following topic. If you're here, if you were invited here, if you're connected right now, streaming this YouTube session, we're going to talk about how to boost students' oral skills in English, of course, at a school. So, welcome everybody. This masterclass is a strategy by the Ministry of Education as part of international cooperation agreement with the British Council and the Ministry of Education, of course. Also part of the Inspiring Teachers 2.0 Professional Development Program and the Contacto Maestro program. We invite you to check Contacto Maestro program at contactomaestro.colombiaprende.co. Thank you, teachers from all over Colombia. I've been checking the YouTube chat and everybody's saying hello. I'm just going to say hi back here. For example, we have John Didon Salazar. Hello, John Didon. Alex Funer, Julia Andrea Delgado from Boyacá, from Cundinamarca. We have Elbania Infante Cadena, Tatiana Gomez Ramirez. We have a lot of people. Okay, Tatiana Gomez saying hi, of course, part of this strategy. Olga Lucia Barba, Napoleon Cagüeño Becerra, and everybody. Welcome, and thank you to the Ministry of Education and the British Council for this strategy. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. Welcome to this second masterclass.
Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, Caro, I'm back here, but this time I'm gonna just introduce our guest teachers and you, the expert in this afternoon. How about if we start calling them out?
All right, let's do that. Let's welcome them.
Okay, so everybody you're watching this streaming session through YouTube, we always invite teachers. This strategy is really valuable because we have teachers' voices. We invite them to the master classes. They have a lot to say. They have a lot of experience to put into this conversation. So let's start with the first guest today, Paula Goyes Dorado. Paula Goyes Dorado from Pasto, Nariño. Paula, welcome.
Okay, good afternoon with everyone.
Hello, Paula.
My name is Paula Goyes. I work at Liceo de la Universidad de Nariño. It is a school which belongs to the Nariño University. We are located in Nariño. And we work at about with 45 or 50 students per classroom.
Yes.
But the most important is that we focus on having academic and emotional competent students. So the most important is take into account how good they are going to be in life. So we prepare them to be a good people or good human beings. So I hope you enjoyed this session and we learn together as a team and welcome to this second masterclass.
Of course, Paula. That's the way it is. We're gonna learn a lot. We're having this conversation all together. We have the teachers out there and the streaming on live on YouTube, but we also have another guest today. Let's call Christian Danilo Cabeza. Okay, so we have Paula from Pasto. We have Christian Danilo from Itagüí, right?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hey,
Good. How are
Christian,
you?
say hi to everybody. Tell us something about yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. the people who are connected right now. Thank you for um, being with us. My name is Christian Cabezas, and I like my students to call me Mr. Heads. So have this kind of like more personal connection and confidence in the classroom. I am a teacher from Carlos Enrique Cortés High School. To be
Yes.
honest, it's my first experience in public schools because I've been working on some English academies in Medellin, and also I was working in Quindío. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
We are happy to have you here, Christian.
Oh, we are.
And we move from Itagüí to Chiquinquirá, Boyacá. Carolina Suarez Vargas. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so glad
Buenos
to have
días.
you here. Can you please say hi to
Thank you.
everybody? Tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. As he said, my name is Carolina Suarez, and I'm so glad and so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I come from Duitama, but I live in Chiquinquirá, and I've been working here for 12 years at Técnico Comercial Sagrado Corazón de Jesús. This is a school who has a commercial specialty, and as it works with the active pedagogy, obviously we work on the communication. So for us, English language is very important. So I hope I can get the best of you today to do it in my classroom and to improve all the strategies that Caro is going to teach us today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I know that you have also a lot of experience and that you are going to enrich this conversation too. Remember, we're going to talk about how to boost students' oral skills in English at school. Okay? Carolina, well, the slides there, it's my name there. Well, I'm the
I have it
moderator. I'm
too.
John Pulido. You can read it all there, but you're on the spotlight. Okay, you're the expert today, and you're the one who's going to be leading this session through all the sections that all teachers know. If you don't know, teachers out there, there are special sessions in which we will get strategies, we will certain activities to take with you and practice at school with your students. And also, we have some time to reflect, summarize, recap, and we have, of course, a time for questions and answers. But Carolina, professor institución universitaria colomboamericana, única, downtown.
Yeah.
21 years of experience, of course. We're not getting any younger, Caro.
No, we're not.
Are
No,
we?
we're not.
Master in
Years
education.
passing.
Master in educational technology and positive education, teacher, educator. She's been with us. This is the third time, right, Caro?
This is my third master class. Yes,
This-
I'm really honored to have been
Yeah.
invited 3 times. That's great.
Okay, nobody has ever been invited so many times as you. It's because
Okay.
there's quality in what you do, and we value what you have to say, and we will learn from you. And
Wow.
she's a former Fulbright FLTA scholarship holder. Karina Witrago, you know her. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna learn a lot today.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the idea. That's the hope.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, but I think before we start talking about how to boost oral skills, we'll have to go see something that the ministry has for us, don't you think?
Sure, of course.
Hola, hello. Queremos darte la bienvenida a un universo lleno de historias, juegos, actividades, radio, videos y muchos recursos. Esto es ECO 2.0. ECO significa English for Colombia y es un universo educativo compuesto por 2 grandes estrategias, ECO Radio y ECO Web. ¿Qué es ECO Radio? ECO Radio es una estrategia que incluye 2 programas de acuerdo a la edad de los oyentes. Para niños entre 6 y 11 años está ECO Kids, un programa de radio para aprender inglés recorriendo las riquezas naturales y culturales de Colombia. Para jóvenes y adolescentes entre los 12 y 18 años está ECO Teens, un programa que los motiva a construir sueños y proyectos a través del inglés. Ambos programas cuentan con personajes entretenidos y secciones atractivas para cada rango de edad.
So, before I get started talking about challenges and opportunities, I would like to ask you a few questions, teachers. Have you ever struggled getting some words out of your preteen and teen students? Those high school students are always willing and eager to talk just like the little children in elementary school were. I don't know for you, but I remember when teaching teenagers, it's a little bit like going to fish. You kind of send out the fishing cane, and you try to pull out some of those words from your students' mouths. Has it happened to you? How about connecting emotionally and socially with them? Is it easy to always get them to talk to you about things that are concerning, things that are worrying them? Or do you ever feel like there's something happening to one of them, but they don't talk? Maybe they talk in other spaces, in the break. Maybe they talk at the library or in the playground. But do they talk in class? Do you leverage your English class for being a space that is safe, not only to develop oral skills and to learn how to speak in English, but also to speak about things that are in the students' minds and hearts? Well, today in our masterclass, what we are going to do is we are going to be talking about not only how to boost oral skills in English, traditionally, normally, and in a very academic way, but we're also going to see how to connect emotionally and socially with our students through the development of oral production. So, are you ready? Let's see what are the challenges and opportunities that our students or our teachers are facing in this light. All right. So, for this, I'm going to invite Teacher Christian, Teacher Paula, Teacher Caro, and John to answer this question. How difficult has it been for your students to readjust to the classroom setting now that we are coming all back to our classroom setting? How difficult has it been for you? So I want you to think from 1 to 5. As you can see, the little cat crying, that's 1, and 5 it's like, yeah, they're super excited. It's really easy to adjust. So in the meantime, I would invite John to be a super fast reader, strategic reader, and find information in the chat when we participate in the chat with the hashtag we adjust. So
We
please,
adjust.
teachers, right, we adjust, and how difficult has it been for your students to readjust to the classroom setting? So
Um,
no preference, but I'm gonna start with my namesake. Caro, what do you think? For you, 1 to 5, how hard has it been?
For me, it's been like 4, actually.
Okay.
3, 4, yeah.
It's not bad. It's actually very good. They were ready to
Mhm.
get back to school.
Yeah, but during the pandemic, I tried to use different strategies to make my students speak online. So I think for them, it wasn't like super difficult to get into the classroom and start trying to speak because it's not speaking
Hmm.
all the time. I teach only 2 hours a week in some
Hmm.
grades, and in sixth, 10th, and 11 we have only 3 hours a week. So actually, it's not the enough time to teach and to make them
Hmm.
speak. But at the beginning it was a little bit difficult, but now it's going well.
Oh, great. I'm really happy for you there.
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
having
not
a bit of
speak.
a harder time then.
No, Carita, it's not speaking all the time. It's like make them say something, at least
Hmm.
saying
Yeah.
hello, at least asking questions, ask permission to go to the restroom and stuff like that. But they don't feel like it is something different from what we did before pandemic.
Okay. Okay. That sounds great. Paula, teacher Paula, when we were saying that students were ready to get back to the classroom, you were like this. Yes. So tell us about you. In your case, how is it for your
No,
students?
the situation here is really different. So teacher
Okay.
Carolina said 4, but no, actually for us, it is gonna be 2. It's
Okay.
really,
Hmm.
really complicated. Why? Because now they are in the classroom. We have like 45 students. We have 50 students, and they're like, my goodness, I don't want to talk because probably my friends are gonna laugh at me. I don't want to do it. So they are really shy because when we were in virtual classes, they had the camera off a couple of times and
Okay.
the excuses of I don't have internet, so teacher, excuse me. So they didn't want to talk.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
now we are with our friends, so they are scared, they are afraid, and like I guess we are starting over. So this is
Okay.
also a social characteristic, I guess, is kind of difficult too. So I guess for students it's difficult and for teachers as well. So we are a step by step. That's it.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So, okay, Christian, what's it for you? How is it for you? Are you a three to cut the difference or is it an extreme?
Um, I guess I kind of agree with my partner Paula. That is, I guess we are in the middle from, I mean, from 1 to 2, 1.5, I
Mhm.
guess, because that
Okay.
was terribly difficult for them. I mean, the experience they had when they were studying during pandemic situation was very extreme, because the lack of technological resources, they didn't have the opportunity of connecting of all the classes. Some of them, I mean, I have classes of 30 students, and just like 5 or 8 students were connecting to my classes, so it was kind of difficult.
Mhm.
And since the moment they knew they have to come back to classes, the face-to-face classes, they were kind of happy. But uh, uh, when we joined the classes, they felt very like boring. They were feeling very boring, like lazy. I mean, they didn't want to do anything. It was kind of difficult, and it's still, but it's a process. Everything is a process.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I asked this question because it has been difficult even for me to readjust to the whole lesson planning again for face-to-face classes. And yeah, I see Caro going like, yes, we have had these challenges. So we have to think, how are our students feeling, especially being teenagers and having all these characteristics that we all love about our teen students. So let's see the second question. And this time I'm going to ask this question to Carolina and to Paula. And the next question is going to be for Christian. So we're going to divide it this time. So, what are the challenges in reconnecting with students at an emotional level? And we can please write on the chat all this. You can write the numbers and then we'll call John to get all the answers together. Okay. So, Paula, you want to start this time? What are the challenges in reconnecting with students at an emotional level, especially for you, in which your school actually has an emphasis on that? So, tell us, what is your experience there?
Okay, so first of all, what we need to do is to be empathetic. That is the first thing
Mhm.
because, as I told you before, the process has been very difficult. Including that, all our students have had difficult situations at home because of
Mhm.
coronavirus. They lost their parents, probably mother, father, a member of the family, so they have different situations. So
Mhm.
first of all, I guess I need to know all of them. Yeah, I know it's difficult at the beginning. It's not gonna be immediately,
Mhm.
and take into account that all situations are different or the learning process are going to be different because one student while in the virtual classes was like yeah attending doing homework and stuff. Other students had different kind of problems, probably with internet family problems, as I told you. So this kind reconnecting is a step by step, and as
Mhm.
I told you, first of all, is to be empathetic, understand all the situations, and try to do the things slow. Slow. It doesn't
Okay.
matter if we don't get all the topics that we have planned, but going slow, I guess, is the most important thing.
Thank you. That's wonderful. We have to remember that we teach students, not content, right? There we go. Caro, what is it for you like? What are the challenges in reconnecting at an emotional level with your students?
Well, first of all, I want to say that it was hard for me to reconnect because at the beginning, I didn't know if, okay, I write on the board or I take my laptop or what I
Yeah.
do, I don't know at the beginning what to say, what to do because obviously I planned. But when I first went into a classroom, I was like, what am I going to do today? Come on. My students were expecting something with technology. That was hard at the beginning for them because most of my students have a cell phone now. So
Okay.
at an emotional level, it affects my classes because they want to be chatting and checking WhatsApp most of the time. So this is something that I had to deal with into the classroom. So this is being hard. And obviously, as Paula says, they come from different contexts with different problems at home. So the first thing I had to do, I mean, was to identify the context of each of them. And obviously, they have grown. So they're 2 years older now. So it's my students most are adolescents, so it's a difficult
Mhm.
time for them. So they want to talk and talk and talk. So I take advantage of it.
Good.
this is
That's great.
this is the good point in my
Yes, absolutely great.
yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, first to reconnect with myself, and then with my students. But it's step by step, as Paula says, and
I
John
love
says,
that.
and same thing.
I love that. And empathy starts with us. So empathy to ourselves, then empathy to the ones with us, as they say in the plane, right? When the oxygen mask drops, first put it yourself and then put it on someone else. So we
Yeah.
have to reconnect with ourselves first. That's great. Teachers, we want to see what you think. So please write, use the hashtag we adjust. How has this happened for you? Now we're going to go with the next question for Christian. So, what are the challenges in recreating, notice that hyphen there, the classroom culture? What do you think?
Mm, well, every day in class is a challenge. I mean, because you face difficult situations every single day. The last time when I was with my group, um, they were kind of like talking too much, and I don't know. It's like attendance with all my groups nowadays. I don't know what happened. It's because of me or because of the weather. I don't know. Um, so what I'm trying to do is like put it into context. Yeah. Um, try to give them like the kind of the environment because it's kind of difficult in my school because um, I cannot do a lot of things due to the I don't know, to the lack of resources we have there. The internet is a bad situation there, and also because the principal is like you know like paying attention just to focus on grades and the results of each test and that stuff. So it's kind of difficult. But what I'm trying to do with 11th graders, especially with them, is like putting into context with what about having a conversation at the airport or asking for a room in a hotel or I don't know. So that's the thing that we are trying to do, like emphasizing them that they have to work in group, not individually, not with your cell phone, put their cell phones away again. So it's kind of tough, but it's not that impossible. So
Yeah, and absolutely,
work.
that's why the hashtag is we adjust because it's all of us. We had to adjust to using only technology, but now we have to adjust to a more blended environment where we can capitalize on what students learned, definitely on what we learned, but also keep the essence, the humanness of the classroom, which is what a lot of people were missing, including teachers, of course, during all these times, was that human factor, that social factor. So it's a challenge, as you say, but yeah, we can do it. Okay, so before we go into the next part, I would like to hear John. John, do you have something from the chat
We
that you'd like
do.
to share?
We do. Well, this the first question is from 1 to 5. How
Yeah,
they
let's go
gotta
back to
get the
that.
number from adjusting.
Hmm.
We got numbers from 2 to 3, 2 and 3.
Okay,
All right,
okay,
2 and 3. For example, teacher Gladys Morales says hashtag we adjust speaking, but I guess according to her comment, is not speaking in English only, but she says that they come back to class very shy, like very closed, that they don't want to talk, like, and
okay.
so she adjusts speaking. Kelly Sanchez, teacher Kelly Sanchez says we adjust their behavior, the use of language classroom, punctuality, and Andrea Torres Lizarazo. Oh, Andrea Torres, I know who she is. I say hi to Andrea. The biggest challenge is to get students' attention without technology. She's saying that. And they also saying, for example, Profe Robin Clavijo, I'm trying to be more active in class and also use games to encourage them to speak a lot. And Gladys Morales says again, hashtag we adjust, speaking about emotions. Okay.
Mhm.
Opening this topic. Maria Isabel Romero says we adjust. I thought through all the situations you have mentioned, they just happened in my classroom. All right.
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
basically it. We're
Okay.
connecting. Okay.
We're connecting, we're adjusting, we're all adjusting. And yeah, I hear you, teachers. I also have the same situation because I don't have availability of technological resources. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to deal with that. Students wanted to use technology because they have a phone now, as Carolina students do too. And but we don't have connectivity inside the classroom. So how do I balance this? So I started using QR codes with things so that we can actually engage them and get them to still use their technology so that we don't lose what they learned, but also keep going with what we have in mind. So something important about these challenges and opportunities is that in the past 10 years, there has been an increase in the levels of anxiety and depression, depressive behaviors in teen students, and now it's every time it's younger and younger, and I think we all are worried about the situation. All teachers of secondary school, this is a real burden that we're carrying, that we are facing, and this reality is here with us today. So of course, as Paula, for example, teacher Paula mentioned, for her students is to be a little bit shyer now. Some students from the teachers commenting on the chat also mentioned that students are shyer, they're probably closed, or the opposite. They're completely um, like now they want to speak, but they don't want to do it with structure. Maybe they just want to talk as they did with their WhatsApp all the time when they were connected at home. So the idea of today is to try to strike a balance between all this communication and understanding and oral production, and also try to respond to our students' emotional and social needs as we do so. So how to promote both oral production and interaction while connecting socially and emotionally in English class? Well, we're going to see how in a moment. So here we are with the Teaching Toolbox. So the idea of today's masterclass is for you to walk out with 3 new techniques you can put in your pocket, take out for class tomorrow to start the new week on Monday, and just make the best possible with this confusing times we are in. So the 3 teaching techniques that we are going to be looking at today are flipping your tongue, of course. The flipping lady has to say something about flip learning. PBL to connect, project based learning as a wonderful opportunity to connect emotionally and socially with our students while developing oral production and interaction, and scaffolding oral production. So, we're going to get started with a question. And I want to ask this question to you, teachers watching and writing on the YouTube chat, but also to Carolina, if you want to come up on stage, and Christian, if you want to come up stage. I would love to hear what you think about this. So, learner autonomy is one of the biggest gains of the pandemic. True or false? What do you think, Carolina?
Well, for me, it's not false, but it's difficult for me to say that it's totally true,
Mhm.
because most of our students were lazy at home during the pandemic. They didn't want to work alone. If they didn't have mom or dad on them all the time, they didn't do anything. So
Mhm.
we had many or problems, and we struggled receiving homework and evaluating, because it was difficult for them to start an autonomous learning. It was because they were not used to it.
Mhm.
So in my school, it was a little bit hard. And
Okay.
especially because of the context. Most of the students in Chiquinquirá come from different areas. And I can say in my school, 30% comes from the rural areas. So
Okay.
it's hard for them to work, to study, and become an autonomous learner. So
Okay.
not totally true.
Okay. Not entirely true, not entirely false. Okay. So what's the case for you, Christian?
I have to say that it was false. Um,
False.
just few of my students um, have like the autonomy, but most of my students or our students in our school was, I mean, they were not like able to have that autonomy. I mean, when we were in face-to-face classes right now, they are saying that, teacher, we were just sleeping. At the same time you were talking in the class, I was just connecting. I didn't pay attention to you. I mean, they have like the face, like the I
To
don't know
say
how
it
to
to
say
you.
that. Yeah, yeah, to say that to me. So I was kind of laughing, but kind of worried at the same time. So they was
Yeah.
false.
Okay. Okay. It was false for you. Now I'm curious about Paula to see if it was also false. Paula, can you come up stage and tell us?
Okay, so yeah, it's false for me as well.
Okay.
So yes, because yes, they were at home, but they were alone, most of them, because parents work. So we don't know if were they doing what they supposed to do. Some of them were like playing video games, watching TV, just like listening to music, but not doing the things that they had to do. So autonomy is the capacity to base rules by themselves to do something. But if they didn't do it, so autonomy was not working. So it's false.
Okay. In your case, it's false. So, John, do we have anything on the chat with the hashtag we connect?
With the hashtag we connect. Before we go, Caro, I'm sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt you and to interrupt
Okay.
everybody. Before we go on the chat, now we're discussing chat. There is some information, very important information for everybody, for all the teachers. Remember that you can register and get the
Mhm.
certificate for this masterclass. You gotta go to the YouTube chat, and on the upper part of the chat, you'll see a blue banner. It's a blue banner. You click on the banner, and you'll get a link. Click there and register. You'll get the certificate. So just just an
Very
announcement,
important
right?
information.
It's
Very
very
important
important because I
information.
know
Yeah.
all teachers want to get their certificate. Now, in terms of what the teachers are saying, I guess we got a little delay on the chat,
Mhm.
and we're still having the conversation on what we adjust.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I can tell you, for example, Marta Milena Rodelo says we adjust. It's been difficult for them to recover their learning rhythm. For example, we have a true challenge is to keep up with all the difficulties that students bring to the classroom. And there's a lot of comments on social and emotional aspects on the students.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind, we can discuss the learning autonomy section right after the next question that you have. So we can have the answers, the teacher's answers, because of the delay.
Okay.
Okay.
However, I think they're coming through. Like I have one from teacher Lenin that says, "We connect." For me, it's not true because homework and activities were done with Google Translate
Oh,
and
yes.
other programs. Yes, the infamous Google Translate.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Luzmila Mora. Hi, Luzmila. How are you? She says partially false. Once again, no, false. Very, very false. We have one here
Yeah, we have
by
Miriam
Proferica.
Gorges.
Yes.
Miriam says partially true because, in spite that students were responsible for their learning, at the same time they become a little unworried for this aspect.
Okay.
Well, okay. So I know that it's been difficult, and we talk about challenges. Um, we see like these hard situations that we go through coming back to presencialidad, to classes. But when we discuss, Carolina, I'm just making this comment because sometimes when we talk about challenge, it tends to be very kind of negative. But a challenge is something that we can overcome. And when we talk about opportunities, is that sometimes the first thing that we see in a situation is really bad or complex. But when we walk through that and we analyze it, we see, okay, I thought it was bad, but this is a challenge. And when I go through that, I open up to opportunities. And when we have opportunities, there's a lot of positive things to build, to learn, and to help us as teachers. So, teachers out there on YouTube chat, please help us with your comments. I know it's been hard, but I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I know there are a lot of positive things to say. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Don. And there is always an opportunity. But
There is always an opportunity,
yes,
definitely.
and considering that, yes, we talked about how false, how true it was, because actually, I want to go back to that slide. The studies on COVID-19, like contingency plans created at schools. There have been thousands of studies published in these past 2 years, because there are always people who publish and write. I don't know how they do it. Probably they don't have small children. Um, those studies mention learning autonomy as one of the biggest gains of the pandemic. Actually, yes. How so? Even though every context is different, students were forced to become more autonomous. Whether they wanted it or not, whether they did it okay or not, they were in charge of their own learning. Sometimes the outcome was that they didn't did a really good job because they didn't know how to proceed, or they were not in the right conditions. We know there are students who are in houses sharing the internet connection with 8 more people. We know there were students with no internet connection. We know there were students taking classes via WhatsApp only at nights because mom or dad took the phone all day with them. We know there were students completely alone at home and just lost on how to do things. But anyhow, they were forced. I use the quotation marks because it was just the situation, it was the circumstance that made them think for themselves, make their own decisions about their learning. Sometimes those decisions were not to do anything, but that's a decision and that carries consequences. And I think that is a great action for autonomy. Yes, I understand that presents lots of challenges for teachers when they're coming back, but we need to hold students accountable of the consequences of their actions. And this is also related to positive discipline. When we're thinking about consequences, not punishments, we're thinking about natural effects of doing or not doing something. So whether we wanted it or not, or whether we like it or not, students were autonomous. Maybe what they chose to do was not to do anything, but they were autonomous in their decisions there, right? And as Paula said, we need to understand autonomy before we actually talk about it. So I want to bring Paula back to this part of the conversation, and I want to invite you all teachers in the chat to please tell us with the hashtag WeConnect, what do you think autonomy is? What is autonomy for you? And are your students autonomous? So Paula, I liked your definition, and I would like you to repeat it now that we have this other side of maybe your decision was not to do anything, and that was a decision. What do you say, Paula?
Yeah, so I said that autonomy is the capacity to have rules or to create rules by ourselves, or in the
Mhm.
case of the students, by themselves.
Yeah.
But probably some of them, they didn't do it because, yeah, they were alone, but they were probably obligated to be responsible,
Mhm.
but not autonomous for me, which is different.
Uh-huh.
Responsible, probably mother and father told them, okay, you have to send the homework, do it. But parents were behind them, like obligating them to do the homework. So that is not to
Mhm.
be autonomous. That is
No.
like they were teaching them to be responsible, which is different. Okay. And yeah, students are autonomous. The second questions, um, probably when they are in the school in this moment, they are getting into the process again. But yeah,
Mhm.
for me, it continues being false, as you said, but uh,
Yes,
autonomy is different to be responsible. That's what I say.
yes. I love that. I like that a lot. And I think that's a problem that we think autonomy is doing everything perfectly. And that's not it. I mean, autonomy is being responsible for your decisions, is being accountable for your decisions and facing the consequences of your decisions. And for example, right now, I'm experiencing that with my students. Like they're noticing that they missed out a lot and they are paying for that by having to study more. They're paying for that by having to um, add an extra hour of vocabulary study because they realized when we went back to the classroom that they had missed those opportunities by being on WhatsApp, by sleeping during class time, by not connecting. And so this is a perfect moment to have those conversations, to involve those students in those conversations and to develop agency more than anything else, to hold our students accountable for what they did, not because of their parents, not because of the teachers, but because of them. And well, see how we can learn from that and move on, move forward, right? So, students are usually terrified of speaking in class, right? That's been the situation for years. As it said, John mentioned in my profile, I've been teaching English for 21 years. And I've seen this. I've seen this all the time. Students are always terrified of speaking because of their pronunciation, because they are not confident, because they think people are going to laugh at them. The language ego, there's a huge thing about language ego there. There is some anxiety towards speaking. They don't want to lose face, especially teenagers. For teenagers, it's really hard to lose face in front of those that are helping them build their identities. So I've noticed how this is something that we can all tackle and work with. But we can help them reduce anxiety towards speaking in class and help them connect with one another. Maybe we are placing too much emphasis on what was not done during the time that we were absent, that we were not connected face to face. But what we can do is we can learn from what was actually done. Yeah, as teacher Paula mentioned, some students had to deal with mourning from their families, their friends. They lost people, they got sick themselves. So we can capitalize on that learning and use it for our purpose, which is help them engage more in class and help them develop oral production and oral interaction. So, do you want to know how? I hope you do, because I'm going to get started with it. The first technique that I have for you today is called flipping your tongue. I like to flip everything. I flip classes, I flip courses, I flip whatever you can imagine. Actually, there is a master class from the last season about that, actually, two or three. You can go ahead and check the principles of flip learning. But today, we're going to focus on just the oral part, okay? So I have 3 steps for us in order to flip our tongue or to make sure that students come prepared to our lesson with what they need in order to be more confident, to be able to speak, to be able to say things in English, okay? So that first mini strategy that I'm going to present to you today is called outlining. So the idea here is set up a speaking task in advance, not on the spot, and provide the outline format for students to start working. I understand we might think that to develop speaking, we only have to do activities where students are producing on the spot. But then we get many factors. We can include all the factors we have talked about up until now. We can include the lack of autonomy. We can include maybe a lack of knowledge of vocabulary and grammar. We can include also anxiety, fear, like physical fear of speaking in class, and maybe even demotivation or not an interest. Thank you so much. I'm not interested, right? So if we have some preparation exercises, if we have students come prepared for our speaking lesson, we might be able to guarantee that they actually have something to say. So by outlining it, I mean we can outline both speaking soft skills, we can outline oral interaction as outline conversations, for example, and we can outline oral production, like outlining interventions or presentations. So, what do I mean by outlining? Just creating a little bit of a structure for students, right? So for oral interactions, for example, we can give them a little bit of a conversation model. So, how are you feeling today? I am feeling, and then we give them a list of vocabulary so that they can grab one word. And we are practicing vocabulary throughout the entire bimester or semester or year, and so we get them to ask the same question all the time until they become confident and comfortable with the language that they're asked to use. And then also we can outline oral production. So we can, for example, provide them a list of sentences, chunks that they are going to be using to talk about them, for example. So I am, name, I like, color, I like, food, I want to have, adjective, profession, and I fear, noun. So I'm going to ask Carolina to come up the stage. Hi, Caro. How are
Hi,
you?
hi.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna practice together. So, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling excited.
There we go. I just gave her all of that, and then providing one word. It's not so bad. We did it on the spot. We didn't practice this, so this is actually working. So, Caro, can you help us with the oral production there?
Yeah, sure. I am Carolina. I like blue. I like spaghetti. I want to be a better teacher every day.
Okay.
I fear loneliness.
Oh, okay. Look at you. You have really good vocabulary. Congrats, guys.
Thank you very
So
much.
that's it. Maybe she had to think a little bit about the words, but she can work with what she has, right? So the idea here is to provide them with some structure. And if I give this structure beforehand to my students, I can even get them to do the next two steps that I have for you. Thank you so much, Caro, for participating in this
You're welcome.
exercise. So the second part of our flipping your tongue strategy is rehearsing. So I understand that students might not have anyone with whom to practice English at home. So the proposal is use artificial intelligence, right? Most, as Carolina mentioned, for example, some of her students come from rural areas. Um, we might have different conditions where students just simply don't have anyone to practice English with at home. That's why there is no way they can build confidence about communicating in English. So, if we rehearse using artificial intelligence, we can overcome this obstacle. So, students can hear an automated voice pronounce so they can get an idea of how to pronounce the words themselves. I have a particular recommendation, which is called text to speech imtranslator.net. This information, this link is in your takeaway materials. Don't worry, you will receive it so you can actually start using it tomorrow. And so there is another one that Fair helped me find, which is Balabolka, which is a downloadable version, just in case your students don't have access to the internet, but they have access to the lab at the school or to a computer in the school. You can download this program and have them do exactly the same exercise that we're going to see in a moment. So the technology of text to speech can empower students to speak. They can listen to this as many times as they want and be able to feel confident about pronouncing some words. So let's take a look at this. So here we have the text-to-speech program demo. So as you can see, we can like modify the speed. We can also modify the accent. We can choose if we want American or British English. It has also other languages. We can choose if we want a
I'm
female.
Carolina. I like purple. I like pasta. I want to be happy. I fear spiders.
Did you hear that? I hope you did.
I am Carolina. I like purple. I like pasta. I want to be happy. I fear spiders.
Okay, so with something like this, our students can practice as many times as they want, listening to the machine. They can listen to a man, they can listen to a woman. And of course, there might be other options that are way more human, let's say. However, in this case, it is better to hear a robot than no one at all, right? So, like if I don't have any cousin, friend that I can practice with, I can use this automatic opportunity to practice hearing how things are pronounced in English, right? And also, another way to rehearse is by speaking. Yeah, but if I don't have anyone who can help me, if I don't have my teacher, if I don't have a classmate who can help me, how can I do it? Well, students can practice pronouncing into the Word document and seeing if it understands, right? So let's take a look at how that happens. We can change the language once again to English, French, or other languages, or Spanish even.
I am Carolina. I like purple.
So I pronounce and it writes it.
I want to be happy. I fear spiders.
All right, so this is wonderful for people who have huge classes and a difficulty to listen to everybody. Imagine me asking my students, okay, so everybody send me a WhatsApp audio with the sentence. I would go crazy if I have 50 students in a class and I have four groups listening to 200 audios. But with this, with the artificial intelligence, I can just teach them how to do this with the Word online, even open up a session in the school lab or anywhere that is available to everybody, and I can teach them to practice the pronunciation themselves with these two different tools. Okay. And the third strategy would be to practice your pronunciation. So students can verify individual words just to feel more confident. For this, I'll bring you the infamous Google Translate, which has a very good purpose here because it has the pronunciation of every word in the English language. So students will use it anyway, so they can do all of what we just saw with the Google Translate, just getting it to pronounce. And then how you say, it's another website that they can use to just write in a word and hear it being pronounced to them. So right now, I would like to, before we go into teaching technique two, I would like to invite Christian and Paula to tell us what they think about this three techniques for flipping students' tongue.
So I really like the technique because
Okay.
sometimes in the class, time is not enough. So they have the opportunity at home to practice, or we can work in groups, yeah, during the class. So not only with the teacher. So
Yeah.
that is a really good technique for me. And also practice at home, so they repeat and repeat pronunciation, so they get intonation, they get fluency. So that is a good point for me. I love it.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad. And yes, it might sound a little robotic, but it's easy to correct, right? Christian, what do you think?
Um, I think it's amazing. I mean, I didn't know this the last one that is with the one that has like a picture of Matrix there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
couldn't
didn't know that
remove
one.
couldn't
Yeah,
remove the publicity.
and it's a good propaganda. Um, so I think yeah, as Paula said before, working with them in groups or working individually at home, um, is I mean they can take advantage of all those strategies, and also we are gonna have like, I mean we're gonna kind of reduce our job and our stress a lot.
Yes, and also we are giving them an opportunity to use their beloved technology. They don't want to get separated from what they did. We have them take out the phones for a moment. You know, you can listen to the sound, and it actually makes it for us, it also reduces the stress of having them checking their phone all the time because they're using the phone for something that we need them to use it in class. Another thing that I wanted to mention is in the second part of the rehearsing, this same strategy of dictating, we can do it with Google Docs as well. So if you have access to Google Docs, not Microsoft or Word Online, you can still do it. And that's the idea, to have our students practice even with machines, even with artificial intelligence, but to get some feedback on how they are pronouncing. So by having that written on the document, they can rest assured that what they are saying is being understood. So teachers, if you want to write something on the chat about these strategies, about these techniques, please do so, and we'll be reading you very shortly. So, okay, I'm seeing here Claudia Biafara says, I like songs for practicing pronunciation. Absolutely, that is wonderful. It's a great way to go. Um, However, remember, we want to also help them communicate in English. So by having these outlines, by having these rehearsals, we are aiming at giving them some more spoken competence so they can actually communicate with one another in English. And beyond the simple commands, which is what we all do, like can I, what Carolina mentioned, may I go to the bathroom, or I need to do something else, I need to find a dictionary. So we want to take them a little bit beyond that part. So do we have anything else on the chat about the strategies before we move on to the second technique?
Oh, Caro, yes, and we also have questions,
Great.
Carolina, right? We're saving the questions for the last part
Yes,
of the master class,
let's do
and
that.
of course we'll be just collecting them and categorizing them to answer. Okay. Well, wow. Let me tell you what teachers have been saying. Gladys Morales, who's been a teacher, a very active teacher on the chat. She's been using the hashtag WeConnect, rules, responsibility with your time and activities. Louis Bedoya says, if you put into practice games like running, dictation, I love that activity, by the way. Students feel
Yeah.
more confident when speaking in class. They feel more motivated. Olga Lucia Hernandez says, hi. Consuelo says, our students are not autonomous because they're depending all the time on the translator, the infamous Google Translator, like you said. Okay, teachers are participating, and they are very engaged in this conversation.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
they're
that's
they're
awesome.
asking me something. Could you
Yeah.
repeat the name of the third website?
Yeah, it's like how you say it's all together, like HOWJSAY.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Angie Argotti, she's
mhm,
asking that, and other teachers. Okay, you got that. Carolina just answering
yeah.
that. Okay.
And that is in the takeaway material. You're gonna be able to just click a link and get that material.
You just got to the point. Teacher Fabio Castro, who's been also active, his where can I get this material? So now that you mentioned Carolina, I invite all the teachers to go to the YouTube chat, go on the blue banner up there in the upper part of the chart, click there, register. When you register, you'll get your certificate back and the material. Okay, please don't forget. Thank you, Carolina, for reminding me.
Okay, that's
That's
all
it.
fine. And something important that we need to share and we need to discuss is using the Google Translator is not such a bad thing if students learn to do it right. So we have to stop hating it because it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay there, yes. And so we can just capitalize its use. We need to teach them how to use it, correct the translator. Show me if the translator is saying it right or wrong. Show me if the definition that you found is good or is not good. Compare what the Google Translate gives you with other dictionaries. Kind of make it not, if you cannot against it, join it, something like that. So we can teach them to use it wisely. And for example, this one, the pronunciation, it's a really good feature that the Google Translate offers, right? Okay, so are you ready to move on to the second technique?
Sure.
Let's go. So the second technique is called PBL to connect. Remember that we're trying to connect emotionally and socially with our students at the same time as we develop their oral production and oral interaction. So, I'm sorry, John, you just left. I want to call you back. And I'm sorry, Paula, when I call you back again.
I'm here. I'm ready.
Yeah, so the thing is, I'm going to ask the teachers on the chat to write A, B, C, or D according to the answer to this question. While I read the question, Paula, think about the answer. So, what is not project based learning? Project based learning is not about a shiny product. Project based learning is not an excuse not to teach grammar.
Mhm.
Project based learning is not a way to plan only once a bimester, and all of the above. Paula,
Hmm.
what do you say?
Oh my God.
Okay, so it was a short time, but anyway, okay. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
I would say D, all of the above. Yeah,
Okay.
why? Because
One.
about a shiny product, no, because yeah, it could be a product, but also it's a teaching method. Yeah, it's not just like a product.
Yes.
And a student not to teach grammar, no, because sometimes it is necessary. Some students need to have like a basic grammar to understand a couple of things.
Mhm.
It's not a way to plan only once a semester, no, because uh, I am working, focusing on my students' needs. Yeah. So if they don't understand a topic or if they don't get it, tomorrow I cannot change the topic. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
need to, yeah, continue practicing more examples, more activities, and that stuff. So that's why I said all above. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I am terrible at designing multiple choice questions. It
Yeah,
was
we can
just so
tell.
easy.
We can
Yeah,
tell.
it was just if you want to give me a workshop on that, just go ahead and invite me. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely what Paula just said is all true. It's all true. PBL is not that. But what is it? What is PBL?
Oh my
Carolina.
God.
I'm gonna invite Carolina so that I can
Invite
leave Paula
Carolina.
off the hook.
Yeah,
So
I'm here.
Carolina, what is it? What is PBL then? If it's not all this, what is it?
This is actually for me, this is a good excuse to make my students investigate,
Awesome.
right? Investigate for a period of time to gain
Mhm.
skills, communicative skills. So
Absolutely.
it's not an excuse not to teach grammar because, as she said, obviously we have
Mhm.
to teach grammar with that. But this is a good excuse to make my students speak, listen, write, and read in English in a proper
Mhm.
way.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Christian, we're gonna call Christian all the way to Itagüí. Hey, what is
Hello.
PBL for you?
Well, I agree with Carolina. It's just a matter of letting students to use that autonomy and all the knowledge they are learning from other classes, from other subjects, in order to apply it and mix it with English. So they are gonna have like um, those skills and those pieces of information they're getting from natural science, technology, um, etc., in order that they can use it into the second language. So it's a good
Mhm.
opportunity.
Okay, it's an opportunity to investigate, it's an opportunity to integrate everything that students have learned. That is wonderful. We have PBL, in my opinion, we can bring it as an excuse to connect socially and emotionally with our students. Yeah, we can bring it as a way to make possible all these temas transversales that we have in the currículo sugerido, right? That's an amazing way in which we can structure a learning experience around the project. And I would like to thank my friend James Forero, who is watching, for the reference to this. Um, definitely, it's important to find a way to involve students in a long term creation of knowledge. And that is what the temas transversales are doing. They're trying to interest students in topics that are real, that are not something just on the book, but that are things that are part of their life and involving them in the learning of these topics through the learning of the language, having the language as a vehicle to have all this important conversations. So yes, definitely project-based learning is way more than artwork. We have or I don't know, I've seen sometimes this idea that if we have glitter and if we have a very shiny product, then that is a project. And there is a lot more before the shiny product. Yes, we can have a nice product, but this falls all within a very interesting process. So I'm gonna call you back. I don't know why you leave me. I have no idea why you just go. So I would like to know, Christian, how do you structure your projects?
Well, I start asking my students what do they like, or um, maybe trying to connect the the media técnica from Sena that our school has,
Mhm.
that is like related to environment. So I tried like having some ideas related to that topic, especially, or asking them first, what do they like to do, or what do they prefer from other subjects. Then I start like letting them thinking about um, a question or something related to that idea that they had before, or and then I mean I let them like try to they have like most of the information, right, in
Mhm.
order that they can have they can feel that they are participating the most in that project. So later I follow like kind of a structure of questions and procedures and schedule, and
Mhm.
at the end we have like a um, kind of debate or kind of sharing with the ideas that they have at the end, obviously speaking in English. They giving their opinion, and and also all the process I am giving them feedback related to that,
Absolutely.
what they
Thank
need.
you. Thank you so much, Christian, for sharing the way you structured your projects with us. So, according to the Bach Institute of Education, one of the important regulators of project based learning around the world, there are seven essential project design elements. Sometimes we know, like, what are the things that we need to consider, but we miss the structure or the sequence in which this should be presented to students or handed into the community or presented in our curriculum. So the idea would be to share these seven essential project design elements with a particular project invented by me from the currículo sugerido, one of the temas transversales, okay? So definitely PBL can allow you to connect emotionally and socially to your students through the integration of social emotional learning. So let's see how. Our sample project is the topic is citizenship, and the title is teen anxiety. So we're gonna see how to take a look at the seven essential elements of project-based learning with the particular project of teen anxiety based on the citizenship tema transversal. Okay, so we start, as Christian mentioned, with a challenging problem or question. So here, for example, I propose a question: why are Colombian teenagers experiencing higher anxiety levels than 10 years ago? Right? So, why are they doing that now and compared to 10 years ago? So, we start with a question that is broad enough to not be answered with a because X or Y, but that can have a lot of answers. We involve students in the creation or in the thinking very deeply of something that they can develop throughout the project. Okay, let me take a look if I forgot. So yes, something important, the appropriate level of challenge. So we are going to think of a project for 10th grade, 11th grade, ninth grade, 6th grade is going to have a different level of challenge because students are not prepared for certain things. So this one, for example, because it is part of the topic of citizenship, it is aimed to 10th and 11th graders. Okay, So the second part or the second element of the seven essential elements for project-based learning is sustained inquiry. So we invite students to practice asking questions in English to understand the topic better, for example. Here, in this part, the sustained inquiry is something that Carolina was mentioning. She said that project-based learning is an excuse to investigate. So here is where we open up the space for students to go deeply into the topic by asking to all the possible sources that they have. We ask them to engage in a rigorous, extended process of posing questions. So if we have that, it's an opportunity to practice writing questions in English, right? So this is a great opportunity to foster student oral production and oral interaction by asking and answering questions. So we can practice this grammar topic as well, okay? Students can research the topic online by asking friends and family members or by going to the library. So Carolina mentioned how she likes projects to help students investigate, become curious, go deeper into something. So if we have a question that is big enough and engaging enough, we can count on the fact that students would like to investigate, to know more. So probably here they can gather some information from articles, from the web, from blogs, from those influencers they love, from articles at the library, from actual books on teen psychology. I don't know. So the idea is to have a project that is big enough so that students can grow very interested in it and can really go deep into the topic. So after that, oh no, sorry. Carolina also mentioned this. We need to fine tune reading skills in English, and we can do that by means of presenting students with this very interesting information that they want to understand to solve the driving question of the project. Okay, so authenticity refers to the real world context of the students. They are going to go into the community. They are going to find testimonials. They are going to investigate with people they know. They're going to try to find a real connection. So here, for example, we can involve testimonials of students who have experienced anxiety firsthand. We might have some of those in our classroom and create a safe space in the classroom to share. So here we can put into practice all those expressions that we were learning before, or the rehearsal, or we can even put into practice the outlining. We can give them a little bit of a chunk or some sentence stems for them to complete, and then try to have that space where they first write and reflect, and then they can speak and share with their partners. So the next part of a project, or the next element in the seven essential elements, is student voice and choice. So this is to involve students, just like Christian told us he was doing. He involves his students in the process of decision making. He asks them what they want to do, how they want to do it, if they want to study with the sustainability topic or any other topic. So here we promote a safe environment for students to propose a public product to raise awareness in the school community about teen anxiety. So remember that we're doing this with the Make Believe project, but you can think about this for your projects. So we can help them choose by providing them with options. This is something called control autonomy. So we can help them by telling them, okay, so we can have all these products like movie forum, we can have a poster presentation, we can have a theater play, we can have sketches and skits. We provide ideas. Probably they're not going to like them, but this is going to steer some more ideas, right? So we provide some, and then they can come up with their own thing. I'm sure they're going to come with beautiful things like writing letters or the diary of an anxious teen, or I don't know, they might surprise us. And as Christian said, we can, I'm sorry, that was not Christian, we can involve cross curricular contents, right? We can ask the social studies teacher, the Spanish teacher, what are you reading? What are you doing? So how can we involve all this into the project? Okay. We can also provide them with some language for decision making and negotiating. The picture that I chose to use has bills around because language chunks are currency. They are money we want to communicate. They make us rich. They make our communication richer. So if we give students all these little expressions that they can, have in their pocket and then pull out whenever they're necessary, they're going to feel way more confident to speak in our class. We have reflection as another part, another essential element of the project, because we need to reflect, teachers and students alike, we need to reflect about the learning, the actions, have we made the right decisions, have we asked the right person, have we invested enough time into each part of the project, do we want to go deeper? And all of this, teachers, all of this builds connection, all of this builds a community. When we negotiate decisions with our students, when we relinquish control a little bit and we let them take the steering wheel, we guarantee that they're more engaged because they're part of it. They're not just, like we are the writers of the script and there are actors. It's not like that. They are participants in the decision making process that makes them empowered, that makes them part of what's happening in your classroom. So here the proposal is reflect with students about both the learning of English and the awareness about the topic. They might identify here some expressions that they actually will need for the presentation of the public product. They may say, teacher, we definitely need to know some more vocabulary, so teach us. Or we need to know how to say this and that because I have no idea. So these opportunities of reflection can also help your instruction. And we can use outlining and chunking to help students produce their reflections in English. If we want to take them even further, we can ask them to give us their opinions in English by giving them the right language to do so. Just like I did with Carolina, we just have a little blank to fill. If we do that with our students, we might be giving them the tools to actually try to communicate in English. Okay, so we have critique and revision. This part is very important and it is not criticism. You notice the word critique? We have to evaluate. We have to see how good our project is, how good our decision making is. And this is something Christian mentioned he did in his projects. He said, I always give feedback to my students along the process. So here, we can not only give feedback ourselves, but we can promote peer assessment and constant feedback by, once again, scaffolding the process of feedback by giving formats to our students. We can ask questions, we can give them simple checklists where they just rate 1 to 5, and so they are involved in the process of assessing their own project. And last but not least, we have a public product. So this is the big show, right? This is where students show what they have learned, where students share with the community all their insights, where they learn, where they show the learning that they did in English, but also in the topic that they are evaluating. So here you generate a space for students to share their findings about the topic with the community. It can be a presentation, in the school, it can be something in the mayor's office, it can be something that you do in the salon comunal of your neighborhood, just to involve more people and to show that your students are thinking about wicked problems and not only just learning the verb to be, right? So in this case, in this moment, I would like to call my teachers to tell me about the reaction towards the 7 essential elements of the project-based instruction. So Christian, Carolina, and Paula, would you please be so kind to come up to stage again? Hi, long time no see.
Hello.
Hello. So, okay, let's start with Paula. So what do you feel about these 7 elements? I always start with you. Yeah, don't roll your eyes at me, you teen student.
Yeah, really, I am learning how to be probably more organized with some activities.
Okay.
Yes, because here it says while designing the project, you can give students voice and help them, yeah, to develop their oral skills. So
Mhm.
probably I can organize some activities better so they can practice activities orally.
Mhm.
So, and also when you mentioned that, yeah, it's probably to investigate things and link other subjects like science or Spanish. So that means I can do probably more activities Yeah, not only
Mhm.
focus on grammar or just like the simple sentences. Or yeah, I really like to have songs as well, but we can also do investigation in, well, probably with science or social science, talking about history. So probably a debate. So yeah, that's really interesting. So I am learning as well.
Okay. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Okay, Carolina, what do you have to say about this?
Well, okay. It caught my eye the way that you say that we have to make our students reflect our their learning process. It's something that we maybe don't do during the classes. So with these steps, I understand now that I had to pay special attention on how my students feel, what they feel like, and if they're really reflecting what they are doing, if they know for sure that this is for their good, especially
Mhm.
with the
Yeah,
communicative competence.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, Carolina. And Christian, what do you
Be
say?
sure.
Yes, that's good. I think we are over time. Okay. So, Christian, what do you have to say for that, for this part? I quoted you a lot.
Um, I don't know. Could you repeat, please? Because for one minute, I have an interruption in the connection, so I didn't
Yes,
It's okay.
listen
It's
to.
okay, Christian.
that's
It's okay.
okay.
Don't worry
Yes.
about it.
Sorry.
Yeah, the thing is that we're seeing what you thought about the seven essential elements, yeah, of the project. And I said I quoted you a lot because I mentioned some of the things you actually had said.
Okay. Well, is this is very important because I mean we are permitting our students to have like their competences also have the opportunity to investigate to research by themselves, of course with the help of the teachers, not only the English teacher but also the teachers that are involved in the topic that they
Hmm.
are working on. And this is very important for them because we are giving them another kind of special and different class that is not only giving them grammar topics or vocabulary topics or just the verb to be, as you said before.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Caro,
Yes.
I have a say. I have a
John,
say.
go ahead.
Well, let's not forget about our teachers on
Totally
the chat.
agree.
Let's not forget
Yes,
about them. They're also
there's a
part of
lot
the
of action in the
conversation.
chat.
Yeah, definitely. I get a couple of comments here, and,
Great.
and and I also
Good
have to say
hearing.
that we have to speed up a little bit because we're getting
I know.
behind. So I'm
Okay.
sorry, teachers, to interrupt. And Caro, speed up. And I want to say, Alex Funer says combining PBL and cooperative learning is a good strategy to improve academic results. She
Hmm.
says. Somebody said I lost the comment. Okay, Edith Amalia. PBL is the opportunity to monitor and show the skills that the students have acquired.
Hmm.
Uh, it's difficult to practice in a group, but we can still work it out. That's another teacher who says. And many schools don't have internet or video, but still, I think we can help students investigate and improve. Okay,
Hmm.
this is some of the comments teachers are saying. So it's 5:26. We still have a couple of sections coming. So, Caro, it's in your hands.
Okay,
Give the
I'll
time,
spit it up. I'll
please.
spit it up. But
Okay.
before that, I want to tackle a question that is on the chat that
Yes.
says,
And
"How do
about
you do
questions,
this?" Oh
we have a
yes,
lot of questions, Caro.
yeah,
We cannot skip that section. Okay, go ahead. Let's
yeah.
move.
So how do we do this with a class of 50? A teacher answered that question on the chat. Combining PBL and cooperative learning, we can combine cooperative learning and have students work in cooperative groups and really, really make the best out of it. We can even have different strands. Like imagine your project like a snowflake with different arms. And so each group is in charge of an arm. I just see it's nice. It seems doable. So let's take a look at the third technique. Uh, I will skip this question just because. And before I move on to the third technique, I want to tell you that there is actually a very direct connection between project based learning and socio emotional learning. In the takeaway material that you're going to receive, if you register to this masterclass in the link that John told you, you are going to get that article where you can read how cell and PBL connect. so perfectly if you are interested in developing emotional and social skills in your students as well as you do oral ones. So I wanted to take this little bit of a quote here. What's needed and what's far less common is for schools to amplify the principles cell programs introduced to make them the fabric of the school itself. In order for cell to have a lasting and sustained effect, it needs to be integrated into the academic mainstream rather than remain on the periphery. Cell is not a trend, it's not the flavor of the month, it's not what we should do now because everyone says cell is important. No, actually, many situations have brought our attention to the importance of social emotional learning. What we need to do is to weave it within everything we do every day. So, technique three is scaffolding oral production. Here I have three steps. Once again, we're going to have the ideation process, providing conversation models, and language chunks as a springboard for conversation. So, starting with the ideation process, we want to propose a topic to students, right? We propose to talk about teen anxiety, for example. Then we involve students once again in the process of providing ideas. And we use post-it notes for students to put one idea in each. This is a strategy from design thinking. You take one post-it note for each student. If you have those ginormous 50 student classes, imagine the amount of ideas you're gonna have. This is amazing. You're gonna be able to involve all of your students. One idea per post-it note, and you are gonna have at least 50. If your students only give you one, you're going to have 50 ideas. And so with that, you can engage them even more into the production process. So, for example, here, I'll propose a general enough topic to generate a lot of ideas, values. And in the chat, I'm not going to be able to ask the teachers this question because you heard I have to rush. But you can write them on the chat, right? What ideas come to mind to discuss the topic of values in 10th and 11th grade? Go. You can take that chat and bombard it with lots and lots of ideas to discuss values. As I said, the
Yes.
strategy is done with post-it notes. But if you have, these digital devices, if you have a chat, you can do it as well on a digital means. So whenever you have some, John, you let us know.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
it'll take some seconds because of the
Yeah.
delay, but
And while they do, I also would like to pose this question. From one to five, one being almost never, and five being every class, how often do your students struggle to initiate conversation?
hmm,
Don't you have those
hmm.
weird conversations like, hello,
And
hello? Like, okay.
this silence, yeah,
Yeah.
no response.
Yeah, or you tell students to practice a conversation or to start a conversation, and their initial word is "Oli." I'm like, really? When do you start a conversation with hello if it's not the hello conversation in the morning? We start with another thing. So, how often? Almost never, every class. Tell us in the chat, and when we finish this technique, we'll go over some of those comments. Okay? So, the second thing we can do to help our students after involving them in the ideation process and having them really, really engaged with the topic that we want them to talk about, we provide conversation models. Conversation models help students feel at ease when speaking because they reduce the anxiety of not knowing how to start. So, this is really hard. Starting something, it's the most difficult part. And actually, there is research on corpus linguistics and how people start conversations. So, you can get your hands on those conversations, that corpora. And for example, Christian was telling us that he wanted his students to have conversations at the airport, or a conversation on how to order something, or how to ask for a book at the library, or how to order food. People think, or students don't know how to ask for food with some expressions. So we can actually teach them those. Place the conversation A B, like it shows here, and provide them with the material that they need to engage in conversation. So this one is a bit complex for our topic on values. So in your opinion, what is a non-negotiable value? B says, for me, respect is non-negotiable. What about you? For me, honesty is non-negotiable. Excellent. Thanks for sharing. So, conversation models teach students to respect roles, to listen to each other, and to ask follow up questions. I meant turns, not roles. So, we have to take turns when we're speaking. We have to listen to one another and ask follow up questions. So, if you see my conversation model right here, it has the question, what about you? So, what do you do? And you, right? So that students can actually engage their partner in conversation. And also we have thanks for sharing, right? We have a listening, like a listening expression. And here at the beginning, we have in your opinion. It's not set on stone. It's not the absolute truth. It's in your opinion. So we are teaching citizenship. We're teaching listening skills. We're teaching all many things by offering conversation models. And I know conversation models might feel a little bit unauthentic, but that's okay at the beginning because they help students develop confidence to speak. Probably you don't remember when you were learning English. I remember I was a little bit traumatized by the fact that I couldn't say a lot. And conversation models really helped me get out of that blockage, of that moment of not knowing how to start. You read the conversation, and maybe like that, you're going to get some confidence to speak. Okay? And so the third part in our strategy for scaffolding oral production is use language chunks as a springboard for conversation. So, yes, we want our students to be able to talk about what they want, what they are interested in, what they love, but not always we have the ease to start. So we can help them with language, like language chunks and sentence stems. So I want to talk about because I think the topic is so I want to talk about love because I think the topic is important. I want to talk about respect because I think the topic is necessary, right? So they just have to add a couple of words. And language chunks, we can teach them collocations and other ways that words get together, like take action, take a break, take turns, take attendance with the same verb, for example, or simple other words like at the end of the day. So as you see, once again, I chose to use a little picture with money because this is currency. If we give our students this bank of expressions, they're going to be able to communicate amongst themselves and with you. That is the key. So, if we could, what other sentence stems or language chunks can you think of? Write them on the chat. So, I want to call John to ask him to share a couple of the comments in the chat so that we
Yes.
can. I did that like the fastest I could.
Good. Hats off to you. Hey, the first question was numbers, right? From 1 to 5. How difficult is it to
Yeah,
engage in a conversation? We
yeah,
have a
that was
lot
it.
of numbers 2 and 3, 2 and 3. We got most of
Okay.
them are two. Most of them too.
Yeah.
And based according to the second question, conversation, Joanna Castaneda says, I agree.
Mhm.
Conversation models make students feel more relaxed when speaking because it gives them a starting point. It takes some of the anxiety away.
Yeah, thank
Fabio
you, Joanna.
Castro, who's participating a lot, says conversation models are a very good way to help our students to start to use English. And Ligia Ortega says, for these techniques, we need to work together in order to have a good results at the end. All the education community working together. Thank you, teachers, for your comments. Caro, back at you.
Absolutely. And yes, definitely what we want is to make our students comfortable, to make them have the feeling that they actually can communicate in English. And so, as I mentioned in the technique, even though this might feel a little unauthentic and they might sound a little bit robotic, they are a great way to get our students in, get them started and get them to feel this positive emotion of I can actually communicate in English. John, those are the strategies that I had to share with the teachers.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I want to say something before we move on the next. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay, okay,
perfectly.
okay, okay. Okay. Uh, broke a window here. Look, I wanna show something, teachers, just very quickly here. Can you see my screen, Kara? This is my
Yes,
phone,
well, yeah, the blue
kind of.
banner, I'm
Okay, do you see the
seeing.
blue banner? Whether
Mhm.
you are on a computer or on your phone, there's a blue banner. You click on the banner. Okay, you see the banner, and then you click there. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't. And it'll take you to forms. Okay, you get
Cool.
all your information there. You write your name, all the information that the Ministry of Education requires you to type in, and then you'll get your certificate and the material. Please go there, click on the blue banner. Okay. um if you have any questions, because I really have a lot of questions, Carolina, and we've been working on organizing them. We don't want to skip that part. So if you have any questions, teachers, do not hesitate. Type them. Go to chat. Write the questions, and we'll be reading them and selecting them for the final part of the session. Caro, I guess it's time to move to our next section, right? Where you're going
Yes,
to
it is.
share 3 action steps.
Okay. Okay, so these action steps are just ways to materialize what we just saw in the teaching toolbox, okay? Action step number one, create a simple outline format for your students every time you think of a speaking task. Whenever you're going to tell your students to talk about something, create a format that is going to help them put down some ideas, give them time to think of the vocabulary that they need, and to give them time to rehearse and practice with the techniques that we saw. You can do something simple as a chart for students to fill out. You can have even a list of key points to cover during the presentation and have students flesh out the details. And you can even use a fun graphic organizer. So there are thousands of graphic organizers online. You can just pick one, have students fill it out, and really be ready for that moment of conversation, for that communicative act that you're going to have in your classroom. Action step number two, involve students in the planning process of the project. The PBL Works is the website about project based learning from the Bach Institute of Education. You just need to register to them to get a lot of materials. You can get webinars, you can get formats, rubrics, you can get lesson plans, you can actually get entire projects already done if you don't want to think about it from scratch. You can have so many ideas, articles, etc. So this is a great place to register, to learn a little bit more. And here, remember, you need to involve the students in the creation, in the design of your project. In action step three, create a word bank for conversations and display it in your classroom as anchor charts. Yeah, that's just a fancy name for a cartelera. So you just do a cartelera with those expressions that you want your students to use. You have the anchor chart monitored, you have them paste those posters on the wall every class, and trust me, de tanto verlos, they're going to remember. They're going to see the poster, and think about it, and they are going to internalize that language that you are offering to them. So, John, that was quick again.
My God, Caro. Oh my God. Uh, Fast, clear, and direct. I guess those are very clear action steps connected to the strategies that you have shared or the things that you've shared before. Caro, this master class is focused on high school English teachers.
Mhm.
You know that every week on we have elementary school teachers, high school teachers. Today's session is high school teachers, and there is some material that we would like teachers to have access to. I don't know if you have
Yeah,
heard about eco teams, have you?
absolutely. Do you think all the teachers have heard it?
I don't know, but if the teachers haven't, we invite you to watch this. It's going to be very important for you. And right after that, we'll be back with the recap section. Okay? Pay attention. Very
All right.
important information.
What is ECHO Teams? Well, ECHO stands for English for Colombia, and it is an educational radio program designed to promote English language learning while exploring different fields like technology, arts, tourism, and sports. The program is designed for teens and presented by teens, Rosita, Aleja, Ana, and Lucho, together with Julian, their English teacher. In the program, they share their life projects and help other young people see the benefits of speaking English. Access other ECHO Team resources at echo.colombiaaprende.edu.co or just click on the link in the description box below.
So, keeping all this sweet and short, in order to have time for the question and answer session, I'm going to give you a recap of the session of today. So, the three techniques that we discussed in order to boost our students' oral skills in the school are flipping your tongue, PBL to connect, and scaffolding oral production. And remember, the action step for flipping your tongue is to create outline formats. In this outline format, we can include the language that students are going to rehearse. We can include a link or a QR code to the website that we are encouraging them to use in order to practice their pronunciation, or we can even do this digitally if we want our students to use their computer at home. The second technique was PBL to connect, and the action step here was involve students in project design. Students have a lot to share with us. They have a lot to give us. We have a lot to learn from them. So involving them in project design can be really helpful in having meaningful, real world oriented projects in your classroom. And scaffolding oral production, our third technique, had the following action step. Create a word bank and display it as anchor charts in the classroom. If your students are anything like mine and they like K-pop and all these things, you know, Chinese and Korean and all that, they'll love to make those posters. Trust me, they'll love to have them decorated and to create the posters that they're going to use in order to improve their vocabulary and to develop their oral skills. So, John, we did it. We have time right now to the question.
Well, you have a skill that not everybody has. Sometimes some people go slow and some people go fast. But you had that skill of going slow and fast and keep time. Now we are on time. So because of you, you just on time. But
That was a
and I
huge
would like to,
responsibility.
and I would like to invite all the teachers because
Yes, come on.
yes, because I would really like the teachers to tell us their favorite, more appealing, or the strategy or the technique that we discussed today that was most appealing to them, their favorite one, and why would it be? Why would they value it so much? Teachers, hello.
Hello.
Let's make a very quick round here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, let's start. Paula, we've had techniques. Okay, we have specific action steps, and in this recap we've got it all put together. Can you tell us your favorite one and why would it be?
Yeah, so my favorite one is flipping your tongue because it involves all of them.
Paula is very happy about that.
Oh, yeah. So flipping your tongue, yeah, and obviously that continues with create outline and also with the one that involves the students in a project design because they create, investigate, and it's not only the currículo sugerido as
Hmm.
Carolina said, right? So
Yes.
we have the opportunity to do different things according to the context. So it's not just like a one thing. So we're open to different things. So that's it.
Okay, amazing. Okay, what about Christian? Shoot us with some
Well,
knowledge here.
well, I guess scaffolding or production.
Why is
That
that?
is kind of interesting because um, you can have the students. I mean, entertaining, creating those kind of posters. The answer. What's the pronunciation? Answer.
Anchor
Anchor.
charts, the
Anchor,
anchor charts. Yeah,
anchor
Anchor.
chart. Sorry.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
um,
We don't know
it's
it
yeah.
all.
So we
okay.
are learning at the same time, right?
Of course,
Um,
man.
We all
eh,
are. We all are.
and at the same time they're creating those posters, those anchor cards, the charts, sorry. They are learning, they are like interiorizing the phrases that they are gonna use later. So they are gonna have like those posters
Mhm.
for the rest of the year, and they're gonna take a lot of advantage of them.
Definitely.
Yeah, great, great.
Well,
Hello. Okay.
second, I
Yes.
guess I have
Yes. Yeah.
like
I was gonna.
connection
I was
problems
gonna
with
tell
me.
you, of
Yeah, okay.
course. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm having problems with internet connection, I guess. But for me, it's PBL definitely because while working on PBL, I can use flipping your tongue, scaffolding or production
Oh.
as a strategies
Oh
for
my God. That
projects.
was a very
So
good
I can involve
answer.
my students, design the project. I can do the first part flipping, and at the end, as a product, not as a shiny product, but as something that they can show the scaffolding order with the
Mhm.
charts, with the posters. So definitely, research is my thing.
Okay, that was like the cherry
Oh,
on top. Okay, that was a very
yeah,
very good
we nailed
answer.
it.
Okay, yeah, project based
Even you
learning
guys, I don't
is
know. I'm not.
I don't know. Hello, we break. It's speaking. Okay, but
I
anyways,
don't know.
that
It
was a
cuts
very.
out. I don't know. It's me.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but it's okay. Okay, Carolina, okay, you got your answers here. Very good. Project based learning. It's very flexible, so it would allow you to integrate other type of techniques. That's very good. Carolina and teachers, we're moving. We have 10 minutes and we're going to move to the next section, questions and answers. So pay attention to this. Okay, finally, I was pushing Caro so much I can't feel
Yes.
bad. Well, not anymore
Not
because
anymore. Yeah, don't worry about it.
I really wanted to have this time because sometimes in other master classes we don't have time for questions and answers,
Mhm.
but teachers have been asking a lot of questions and I know that our guest teachers have some too. So what about if we start with some of the teachers guest teachers questions and I'll be ready because I have them all here.
May I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. My question for Carolina is what suggestions could you give to those teachers who have like special needs or special skills students in the classroom? Because sometimes it's hard for us when they have problems learning even Spanish.
Yeah.
So what can you say?
Well, absolutely. I think one of the biggest gains of being able to use technology in our classrooms is precisely to accommodate for students with special needs. Um, there is something that I love and I've been learning about, which is called universal design for learning. And it is how we teachers can design for the ones on the fringe, like we're not designing for the ones in the center, we're not designing for the average students, but we're designing for those outside of the frame. The ones that either have special needs or difficulties, or the ones who are at a higher level, right? Sometimes they also get lagged behind. So, suggestions that I have for those to be very conscious in the planning about how to include them, to install some peer tutoring programs. I think peer tutoring is underestimated, underused, and underrated. The power of connection between students is amazing. And actually, some of them may have helped each other during, lockdown or whatever, because the other person had it clearer or understood it better or their connection was better, and they would rely on each other for help. And also definitely using technology, like for example, the tool that I showed on Google, I'm sorry, on the Word Online, Word, Microsoft, Google, they have a lot on accessibility for students with special needs. So we can resort to the immersive reader, we can resort to the narration so that students can actually hear texts instead of just seeing them. Students, for example, with dyslexia will benefit a lot from this feature. We
Okay.
can involve all these technologies in order to help our students with special needs, definitely. I don't
Okay.
know if I answered the question,
Well,
Caro.
well, quite a lot, but it's very, very, very interesting what you're saying. Now, you mentioned, Carolina, you mentioned technology as one of the strategies or tools that we can use. And we've had a lot of comments on the chat about technology. Some
Mhm,
comments are were phrased as difficulties, some others
mhm,
were phrased as challenges. All right.
mhm,
Definitely, whether you have technology or not may have certain difference in the final tools that you use in your class. But if you
mhm,
don't have access to all technology or internet, um, it doesn't mean that you cannot boost students' speaking abilities, right?
mhm.
There is a
Absolutely.
question here from Bernardita Guarin. She
Mhm.
says, we don't have internet at school. Are there any other strategies to improve speaking skill without using technology? You mentioned some, all right? But can we, and the teachers and the guest teachers, of course, maybe help us answer Bernardita this question?
Mhm. Yeah, actually, the one on flipping your tongue is not to be done at school. It's to
Yes.
be done at home. So we are not actually asking you to use technology in the classroom. We're asking students who have the possibility and who need it, because this is for those who cannot cope with what is given with them to them at school, right? It's
Mhm.
for those who need a little bit extra. So definitely all the language chunks, all the sentence stems, the strategy on ideation with post-it notes, all these ideas are part of in classroom settings, not technological at all, right? And I think the important thing here is to place ourselves in the shoes of our students and try to remember what it was to learn the language at the beginning. At this point, it might be a little hard for us because we are so proficient, but we need to remember, okay, when I didn't know something, what did I do? How did I cope with that with that confusion, and go back to that strategy that we used and teach it to our students. For example, TV is available to all of our students, and sometimes they're watching what they shouldn't. So we can use TV at our advantage in order to prepare for conversations, to gather
Yes.
expressions, to see words, etc. So yeah, I think that's one of the greatest qualities of teachers, that we do the best that we can with what we have.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned something, right? Let us never forget about those times when we were learning English, all right?
Mhm.
And those strategies that we applied back in the days. Well, I didn't have a computer or internet to learn English. TV was one of them, yes. But also I practiced making conversations in my head,
Yeah.
uh, and other strategies that teachers used in the classroom. I remember that running the dictation from one of the teachers that mentioned it there on the chat, like going back to basics if you don't have technology, going back to what we had back in the days. And I guess those strategies are very, very helpful. Thank you, Catalina. Okay, I don't know if there is any comment about this
Absolutely.
question from our
Yeah,
guest teachers.
actually, I'm promoting back to the paper in my classroom. They have to write and they have to use papers and pens.
Back to the basics, back to
Yeah.
paper. Yes,
Yeah. Back to
definitely.
paper.
Yeah.
It's what we
Yes.
have. I mean, we're going back to presencial. Going back to presencial, and we have to adapt. That's why Carolina
Yeah.
started today started out with the hashtag I adapt, I
Yeah.
adjust. Okay, very
Adjust.
good.
Uh-huh.
So I have a couple of questions, more questions from the teachers, but let's continue with the ones you have, our guest teachers here. Do we have any other one?
Yeah, can I do it?
Yes,
Can
of
I go?
course. Go ahead. You just
Okay.
go ahead.
So
Go, go.
I was just thinking because I have been talking that it is very important to go step by step, right? But I
Yeah.
was analyzing what about with the 11th grade students? Yeah, I can go step by step because of everything, virtual classes and stuff. But here we have a little problem is that in September we're going to be evaluated in Prueba Saber. So I don't know if I am doing the things correct or not. So if I go step by step, what about the rest of the topics that I have to study and the ones that we are going to be evaluated? So what do I have to do? Am I doing the things correct or not? So that is my question.
I am going to answer that very simply. Flip it. Flip
Flip it.
it. Paula's like, yes, I knew you were going to say that. Yes, I just have to say, flip it. Whatever you feel is more dense or more difficult, that they need you there, do that in the classroom. But whatever you feel they can handle, like you can prepare some material or help them out outside, then flip that. Okay, it can be with a handout, it doesn't have to be with technology. You can do it by writing some instructions, having students even a bilingual document where you give them some information in Spanish, then you put it up in English. But definitely flip it. That's going to give you so much more time in the classroom. That was easy.
Flip. Because I remember
Yeah,
this
just flip
week that
it. Yeah.
we got together. Carlos says, I'm the crazy lady with the flip learning."
Yes. I just have to answer everything with flip.
Okay, don't flip this answer, Caro. Strategies for large classes. You mentioned some just along your presentation, but there is this teacher. She says, "How can I use these strategies with large groups, over 40, 50 students?"
Yeah. Yeah. I think with large classes, and I think that was something Christian mentioned, cooperative learning, definitely that's the way to go. We need to set up tasks in a way that we can have everybody be accountable for something. So if we just leave it like, some people answer, the ones who want, then we're going to have a lot of disconnected. I listen to myself, that's weird. So we're going to have some disconnected students from our class, right? So it's important to engage them, involve them in small group activities, and benefit from pair work and group work,
Yes,
because these are the ways to go with large
sure,
classes. We
sure
can
thing.
give them opportunities for all to prepare, to share, to help each other, but in small islands. The problem, and I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, the problem is that with groups, we teachers relinquish control, and that makes us a little nervous.
That's true.
So
That's true.
embrace the chaos, embrace the uncertainty, and help them become more autonomous.
Okay. Um, we're running out of time. It's 6 o'clock. Uh,
Okay.
Christian, Christian, I'm sorry if you had a question, man. We ran out of time.
Don't worry.
Write it on the chat. Okay, on the StreamYard. Christian, Christian, thank you very much, Christian. Yes, for your soon-to-be participation that didn't happen. But Carolina and all the guest teachers, thank you very much for your participation. You make this master classes valuable. Your voices, your experience, what you bring to the conversation is what really makes this a valuable strategy from the Ministry of Education and the British Council. Thank you very much, Carolina. One more time. This is the third time, and it's been a great experience. Thank you, all the teachers. Don't forget to register. Register there, get your certificate and your material. Next week, guess what? We're going to have another masterclass.
What?
Cómo desarrollar las habilidades de producción y comprensión en inglés de mis estudiantes en primaria. Today, high school, secundaria. Next week, primaria. So if you right now, you're a teacher who teaches in high school or elementary, next week, elementary. If you have teachers who are friends of yours and you want to invite them, tell them to come next week. Okay, we have Jasmine, who is an expert on the topic, and I'll be there too. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a great,
Bye,
Okay,
great,
thank
everyone.
you
great
very
Thank
much.
you so
afternoon.
much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you.
us.
It was a pleasure.